Well, Sunday is here, and so is the weekly market close price action. We love to see price action like this brewing around the weekly close. We are focused on it. We're definitely, looking at a few levels in the Discord. I have been outlining this for the premium members. If you guys do want to join up, you guys are more than welcome to. But overall, it's looking like a nice bounce here in the market. I'm watching XRP. I'm trying to see if we can close over some key levels, which we've been outlining over the week. Tonight's midnight video will definitely give you guys a little bit of an insight on that. But in this video, I want to talk about just the market growth, right? Recently, the market cap of crypto did hit $4 trillion. In fact, it hit almost $2 trillion on the 13th. This might sound like a lot of money, right? $4.2 trillion. I mean, if we go all the way back in time, guys, going all the way back to 2022, we were sub $1 trillion. We're at $798 billion back on January 1st in 2023. And from that point on, we ran to $4.2 trillion. This might sound crazy, but guess what? This is just the starting point. I do see crypto hitting $10+ trillion. It might not happen this year. It might not happen next year, but we are going to be a $10+ trillion asset class. And that is still a very small feat for crypto because we are targeting $100+ trillion in assets moving on chain. We are targeting some of the largest markets out there. The DTCC is moving $3+ quadrillion per year, and they are looking into tokenization. Again, this is one of the largest revolutions in history. This is going to change everything around us. I keep saying this because I don't think people realize how big of an opportunity we have in front of us. All you have to do is be patient. Now with XRP, again, XRP today looking very good as you guys can see. But looking at the all-time chart for XRP, guys, the growth of XRP has been extremely significant. In the last year, we're still up 440+%. Again, incredible to see. It feels as though we are starting to squeeze out of this flag formation on XRP as well. I've been keeping a close eye on that. Again, I still think XRP has a tremendous amount of upside potential left in it this cycle. And by the end of this year, a lot of these altcoins like XRP are going to be trading significantly higher. And I do think that XRP could be closing in on, $10 by the end of this year. And we still have that January, February timeframe where we could still see the markets heat up, just like back in 2017, 2018, where we saw XRP. And I know that this says December 31st, but XRP closed its highest point around like January 7th of 2018. So, we could still pump into January, but I'm expecting XRP to get, pretty volatile towards the end of this year, where we could see some pretty big spikes. But that's why we are so focused on how this market is evolving, what we're being told by some prominent names, and also what's happening around the adoption of crypto. Now, we'll get into that, but first, I really want to bring up a big, serious issue around crypto. This came up on my timeline earlier today, and it's another horrible situation of someone having their wallet accessed by scammers. They sold all the NFTs. They sent everything to KuCoin. This is a big issue. This is why I keep telling everyone, if you're in this space, don't be signing contracts. Don't be linking your wallet to everything that you see around, oh, an airdrop or, oh, free crypto. This is where you could start to see your wallets getting drained. And this is also why I partnered up with ITrustCapital. ITrustCapital is one of the best platforms out there for not just their IRA platform, but also their premium custody account. Guys, today, if you sign up with ITrustCapital and deposit $1,000, you get $100 in a funding bonus for free utilizing my link. But the main thing that I'm looking at here is their premium custody account. If you want to have that closed loop system, that high security that these major institutional players have, this is where you could tap into that. You don't have to worry about your crypto getting stolen from you or your NFTs being stolen or anything like that. Now, I don't think that they have NFTs tied to this platform just yet. I think that this is mainly just crypto. But the main thing about this is, holding your crypto, especially if it's a significant amount, you want to do it with a premium player like ITrustCapital that has that US-based company support that you could tap into. It's a 24/7 platform. You could buy and sell crypto 24/7. The lowest fees out there. Guys, this is the best way to store your crypto, even compared to cold storage. Because again, if we're thinking about, where this space is headed, you want to make sure that things are locked away, things are locked up. You can't lose your crypto. You cannot afford to lose your crypto at this point, especially with adoption heating up the way that it is, with regulations being, announced. This is the best platform to tap into. So, if you want to tap into this, there's going to be a link down in the description below, as well as in the comments below. And I really hope that nobody else has to experience this, because this is just a horrible situation for Tori. So yeah, if you guys do want to lock in, ITrustCapital down in the description below, as well as in the comments below. Now, let's talk about a few things. So we just got a big update from Eleanor Tourette. So the Senate Banking Committee's latest market structure draft reflects stakeholder and lobbyist feedback. Now, this is regarding a few things. Number one, Ancillary Assets Section 101. This section aims to provide more legal clarity, exclude assets that are clearly securities, provide that staking and airdrops are not securities, as well as providing that SEC enforcement actions and private lawsuits cannot be brought against existing tokens issued before the date of enactment, providing they are not fraudulent. Number two, DPIN, Section 504, a new exemption included for decentralized physical infrastructure networks from securities laws. Number three, protecting software developers, self-custody protection, Section 506, DeFi exemption 501, and Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act, Section 505. These are all maintained in this new draft. Now, also, the SEC and CFTC coordination. This is something that's very important to focus on, because now the SEC and the CFTC are working together on a joint advisory committee to make decisions in the digital asset space and resolve any disputes. If you guys have been watching the channel for quite some time, let's go all the way back to like 2022, 2023. This is something that we've always talked about. This is something that we speculated on for quite some time, that these two organizations will work together, because again, the SEC and the CFTC have been regulating specific markets forever now. But if they work together, they could provide the full-on clarity that is needed for the digital asset space. And now they are doing just that with this joint advisory committee. I love to see this, because once we start to see clarity for the space achieved, it's going to open up the floodgates. And this is something that we've heard from many prominent names in this space as well, which we'll talk about. But let's address a few things here, which is why it's so important to have these regulations in place now. Well, adoption. We know from Raoul Pal, he just put out a post regarding crypto adoption. Crypto is still being adopted at twice the speed on the internet, from 5 million IP addresses versus 5 million wallets, very like for like. And we could see that here in this image. This is crypto users versus internet users yearly growth. And we could see year one equals users. And this is where we could see, the 5 million mark being targeted. So this is greater than 5 million users. And we could see with, crypto compared to the internet users, right? We are outpacing it significantly. By year 9, we have over 442 million more users than the internet. This is showing us how quick crypto is evolving, how quick crypto is being adopted. And what do you think is the next catalyst for this growth? Regulations. This is where we could start to really see the crypto space erupt in a big way. And we have down here, and it's on its way to 4 billion by 2030. That's right, 4 billion crypto users by 2030. That is a crazy stat line. And all it takes is one big use case. This could be stablecoin adoption. It could be, gaming. It could be anything. But I do think that it's going to be payment. I think that it's going to be payments, 100%. I think payments are a game changer around crypto. I think that it's really starting to expand into specific markets. Banks are now looking into stablecoins and payments around crypto. So again, that could definitely be the big catalyst for this. But we also have, and that will take it from $4 trillion in market cap today to $100 trillion by 2032 to 2034, aka the floodgates opening for crypto. And that is driven by the two secular trends, adoption and debasement. Debasement explains 90% of price action. Adoption explains 100% of outperformance versus debasement. And here we could see, just the total liquidity index with Bitcoin. He's just kind of showing us how, the total liquidity index and Bitcoin are kind of aligning perfectly, and we'll continue to see this align, and that will actually push Bitcoin up. But think about altcoins during this time, because we will start to see that decoupling of altcoins versus Bitcoin, where we do continue to see that big growth around the altcoin market compared to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's growth, it's only going to continue to diminish, right? And I've talked about this on multiple occasions. This is where altcoins really start to steal the show. But outside of that, right, we think about what Eric Trump recently told us, which was Eric Trump just announced that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are poised for a massive parabolic surge. The cracks in the dam are breaking. Check this out.
Every single day. A year ago, Jamie Dimon was saying, we're not going to touch cryptocurrency. And now they're probably running at digital assets faster than anyone. You see what BlackRock's doing. You see, as I mentioned, what Schwab's doing. You see what nation states are doing. You see what states in this country are doing. Look what Texas just voted on, right? In their legislature, literally being able to custody Bitcoin on their balance sheets, right? So all of a sudden you've got all these cracks in the dam that are breaking. The people who get in now are the people who are getting in early. I believe that with all of my soul. And this is a global asset. This is an asset that everybody wants. This is an asset. It's probably the only asset in the world that has limited supply. There's 21 million. There will never be another one, unlike gold, unlike other commodities. And I'm just watching it from afar as for the first time, the capital markets really have access to it or getting access to it. And so I think cryptocurrency is in its infancy. And I think the trajectory of Bitcoin and of digital assets is going to be parabolic. And I really think we're going to have one of the greatest companies in the ecosystem. And that was launched obviously minutes ago.
Eric,
So obviously, yeah, he's shilling his Bitcoin company. But the main thing to focus on here is everyone is now looking into crypto. Everyone's eyes are on crypto. And the best part about this, right, is that although he's talking about Bitcoin, let's just go back a couple, a little bit ago, right? This is the beginning of August. Eric Trump bets on crypto. Banks are bloated relics and Swift charges like it's 1850. XRP and DeFi aren't trends. They're the natural upgrade. The future doesn't wait. It settles in seconds. Because, again, Eric Trump knows that the banking sector is broken. If we're thinking about this, right, Bitcoin is not going to solve these problems. It's just not. Everyone that's been around crypto knows that it's not going to solve these problems. We are looking at XRP. We are looking at HBAR. We are looking at these networks in the space that can tap in around the banking system and solve these problems because they have such scalability, efficiencies tied back to them. Even the fee base, all of these things is exactly what Bitcoin and even Ethereum lack greatly. But check this out.
Brian, it's infuriating. We had nowhere to go. Capital One stripped 300 bank accounts from me, 300 in the middle of the night. They sent us a letter after doing business for 20-something years. All your bank accounts for golf courses and condominium buildings and hotels, they're all gone in the middle of the night. I mean, how do you pay your taxes? How do you pay your employees? This happened across the board. It happened with JP Morgan Chase. It happened with Bank of America. It happened with First Republic. And this wasn't just happening to the Trumps, people with a lot of zeros on the end. This was happening to conservatives all over the country. We didn't have a damn choice. So before my father, won the election, before my father was in office, we started getting into cryptocurrency. The people in cryptocurrency were being debanked just like Trump was being debanked.
Right.
And you know what? It's become the fastest growing industry anywhere in the world. It's actually removed a lot of the power from the big banks who have weaponized their platforms against the American people. And I could not be more proud to be.
I don't know.
Brian,
So, yeah, I mean, listen, when we think about the banking system, it's broken. It's completely broken. And this also goes hand in hand with what he was telling us a few months back as well, where, he said that crypto has the power to replace Swift. It has the power to change the way that the banking system works because, at the end of the day, we know that the biggest shift happening here is stablecoins. Stablecoin adoption is surging around the world because people know that you could send stablecoins at a fraction of, a penny. It's insane when you think about the pros and cons of utilizing crypto compared to banks. This is why I keep saying that, once people realize the power of crypto, and I'm talking about like traditional people, like people that don't know about crypto all that much. Once they start learning about crypto, their eyes just, widen and they're like, I know exactly why crypto is now going to be the future. I understand it because all it takes is a little bit of learning to realize, wow, this really is the future of finance. Anyone that made a transaction through Western Union or even through PayPal, anything, right? Because again, these are user interfacing apps. PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, they're all useless. All they are is a fancy UI built on the back of a broken financial system. And then you use crypto. And then you immediately see the benefits. I mean, it doesn't take you a little bit of time to understand it. It doesn't take you a little bit of time to, see the benefits. No, it's an immediate reaction because the settlement of those transactions are, they're so fast, seconds. On top of that, the fees, you're shocked by it because you can move millions and millions and millions of dollars for a fraction of a penny. The XRP ledger, right? $50 million was moved over the XRP ledger and they paid cents on it. You move $50 million in the traditional system and you are paying an absurd amount of money in fees. This is why when we think about the adoption of crypto, yeah, it's surging. When we hear these discussions from individuals like Eric Trump or any prominent name, right, they're telling us one thing, it's Bitcoin, it's Bitcoin, it's Bitcoin, but they're distracting us. But they also give us a little bit more, right? Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and digital assets, Bitcoin and these other top projects. That other and those, other digital assets and those cryptocurrencies, that's the section that you need to really pay attention to, right? Like that's the part that you need to tap into because it's not about Bitcoin. It's never been about Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the first major mover, right? It's what allowed these other, cryptocurrencies to become today. But again, the future is not about Bitcoin. The future is about what networks can be tapped in to move trillions and trillions of dollars every single day. Stablecoins, tokenization, all of these things are starting to heat up. Yeah, the cracks in the dam are breaking. Yes, the floodgates are opening. Yes, 2025 has been the year of regulations and big banks and these institutional players to tap into crypto because they know that if they don't, crypto is going to eat their lunch. So they need to tap in now. This is why when we look at these charts around adoption, this is just the beginning. Yes, crypto is a $100 trillion asset class. Yes, it will hit $100 trillion plus in market cap. And I do believe that will happen by 2032, 2034. That's why the growth around crypto, like everyone is so quick to get out of crypto. You want to stay in this space because this space is the future. This space is what the new financial system will be built on. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.